Welcome back to CLE Weekend. You think about the women in your life, right? The moms, they're successful. A lot of them appear to have it all together, but they're quietly running on empty between the mental load of home life, right? The high expectations when you go to work. That pressure, it can be overwhelming. So, here to help us navigate some of these challenges is psychologist, executive coach, and working mom, Dr. Ann Welsh. So, good morning to you.
Good morning. I'm so excited to be here and talk to you about all of this.
Yes, we need to talk about it. I think this is a very important topic, right? Especially too when we live in this age of like social media where it's like, oh, they're so perfect. And you're like, hi, yeah, no, that's not it. Why do you think, though, there are so many moms that are running on empty, even though it appears like they're not?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that we have totally escalated what we're asking mothers to do, right? And I've really seen this in my own parenting, but in my clients too, where we are now, mothers' jobs is not just keeping our kids alive. We are supposed to be keeping emotionally regulated at all times and have the house perfectly clean and well designed and perfect bento boxes for lunch. And, you mentioned social media, right? Like that's a huge part of it. We see these little snapshots of everybody else. And even though we know that it's just a highlight reel, our brains process it emotionally like that's an actual person we know. And it creates this kind of constant pressure to be perfect and to show up like you have it all together, even though the reality is most of us don't.
No, and I even posted something recently on social media and I was like, things aren't perfect. I posted a picture of my kids like sticking their tongue out because I was like, you know what? I always post the cutest photos of them, but that doesn't mean I only took one cute photo and that's the only one, that we got. We hear the term mental load a lot. I want you to kind of talk about what that means.
Yeah, the mental load is all of the work that is invisible, right? You think about an iceberg is the best analogy, right? The actual work that we see is just the tip of the iceberg, but there's a ton of stuff that happens underneath that. It's cognitive labor, the planning, the remembering, the anticipating, right? It's not only taking the kid to their pediatrician appointment, it's remembering that they need to go in the first place and scheduling it. And then there's also emotional labor that's happening underneath as well, right? Managing our emotions, our family's emotions, our kids' emotions, sometimes our partner's emotions. And it's happening at work, it's happening at home. And because we can't see it, it's really undervalued.
Yeah, it's very true. We set that bar very high for ourselves. Are there things, that you would say that moms expect, let's say, of themselves that we can never quite keep up with?
I think a lot of moms are carrying around two really important things: perfectionism and people pleasing. And with perfectionism, a lot of times moms will say, well, I'm not a perfectionist. My house can be a little bit dirty. But really, it's more the sense of like running on fear. Like they're afraid of making a mistake or of messing up or missing something all the time. And it's exhausting. And people pleasing is also fear-based too, right? It's a fear of disappointing someone. I can never let someone down or say no because I need to make everybody else happy. And these two things combine to really be like fuel for burnout.
Yeah, let's talk about the definition of ambition and what that actually should mean.
Yeah, I love this question because I think so often when moms are tired, we tell them, well, just want less, shrink, get smaller, don't be so ambitious. And yet that's not a good solution either, right? Because the problem isn't ambition itself. The problem is that we are going after this really narrow model of ambition. We're calling it the ladder of ambition, right? And what I advocate for is that we think of ambition as this web where there's a ton of room for play and creativity and pivots and rest, right? You can kind of go in any direction on a web. And when we think of it that way, there's a lot more freedom for us to go after the things we want and to do it in a sustainable way.
Well, yeah, and I think a lot of us do have great examples in our own mothers, right? Or mother figures that you're like, they did it all. And it's like, oh no, if you sit down and have a candid conversation with your mom or that mother figure in their life, they're going to be like, yeah, honey, I held it together just barely. So I think kind of changing things and us knowing that like, hey, it looks like they did it all. But, for someone though who has that pressure, right, that feeling, what's one thing you would say to them, at least today, that they can do to kind of help with that pressure that they have?
Yeah, I guess I'd say two things. One is, can you start just paying a little bit of attention to what brings you joy, right? To what are the things you're doing because you actually want to do them, because you desire it, not because you are acting out of what you deserve. And the other thing I would say is, what do you want to model for your kids,
Yeah.
right? Do we want our kids to feel like they have to burn themselves out making everybody happy? Or do we want them to be able to kind of taste their own joy? And if that's what we want them to do, we've got to do that ourselves too.
Yeah, I love that, being a good model in more ways than one so that they see those behaviors. Dr. Ann Welsh, this has been great chatting with you. If we want to get more information on anything that you said, because you got a lot of great knowledge for us moms or even moms to be, where can we go to get that more information?
Yeah, you can check out my website, which is drannwelsh.com, and you can also pre-order my book, Ambitious Mother, that gets into all of these themes anywhere books are sold.
I'm doing that here real soon. Just give me like 2 minutes because I love that. You've got some great information. Thanks again. It was great to chat with you.
Thank you. This
We'll
is
be right
great.
back on CLE Weekend.